Someone once asked me, what should a woman do if her husband cheats? Years ago, I would have said, dump him, no regrets. Now, I look at my 3 kids, my bank balance, the house in his name, and swallow that answer whole. I'm not like those 20-something girls online typing empowering quotes, crying one night, then magically meeting a billionaire soulmate the next day. Real life doesn't hand out second chances that easily. My husband, Landon Hale, isn't the kind of man you can just walk away from. He's the family's money tree. Cut the trunk, and the whole house goes dry. Landon seems ordinary on the outside, polite, low-key, never chasing the spotlight. But in the finance world, his name makes half of Manhattan sit up straight. $800 million in capital moves through his hands every year. To the public, I'm just his wife. But I know the truth. If he ever filed for divorce, he could make me walk out with nothing and call it mercy. We've known each other for over 20 years, from the days he tracked every rent dollar at a wobbly wooden desk to the glass and steel boardrooms he commands now. I know his habits, his meds, every crease in his forehead. And I know this too. The tree I watered for 2 decades now has someone else waiting to pick the fruit. Her name is Sienna Brooks. On paper, she's the typical finance heroine. Beautiful, sharp, master's degree, high-earning, the type who walks into a meeting and makes men stare. She could have lived well on her own, if she'd chosen the hard road. But she chose the shortcut. She and Landon met in a graduate finance program. At first, I told myself, same field, same resources. As long as she doesn't cross certain lines, I'll look the other way. But the signs started piling up. Landon worked later. His phone stayed silent. He drifted during dinner. His eyes were somewhere else. Worst of all, I smelled something every married woman recognizes: the scent of a man preparing to leave. Online, young women love saying, if he cheats, leave. Simple. But they don't know. My oldest's college tuition, my daughter's art program fees, my toddler's medical bills, my father's ICU stay, those aren't paid with female pride. Last year, my father almost died. ICU cost $2,000 a day for 4 months. If Landon hadn't stepped in, I would have signed papers I can't bear to imagine. Money kept my father alive. Not love. Not bravery. So no, I can't leave Landon with one dramatic line. You betrayed me. We're done. I'm not afraid of being alone. I'm afraid my kids will lose the only shield they have in a brutal financial world. Sienna is younger, prettier, sharper, and she understands men. When to cry, when to retreat, how to act fragile enough to make a man feel powerful. She crafted the perfect role. A brilliant woman with a wounded heart, too pure to ask for money, just wanting love. If I were Landon, I might have fallen for it too. But what she has in beauty and charm, I match in something else. Motherhood, endurance, instinct. And a mother protecting her children is far more dangerous than any mistress looking for an upgrade. I can't cut down the tree, but I can remove the parasite climbing up its trunk. When my stitches were barely healed after my C-section, I put on a coat and went to meet a man named Kai Donovan, someone who doesn't play by anyone's rules but his own. And with him, I began my plan. Kai Donovan propped his chin on his hand, eyeing me with a slow, growing smile.
Sounds interesting,
he said.
Who's the target?
Sienna Brooks, I answered. Finance girl. Smart, pretty. and currently sleeping with my husband. The air in the private lounge cooled immediately. A woman still healing from a C-section, talking calmly about hiring someone to ruin her husband's mistress. Anyone overhearing us would shiver. Kai chuckled softly. "Who's your husband?" "Landon Hale." He paused, just a beat, eyes sharpening. "The guy running Hale Capital?"
One press conference from him can shift the entire market.
"You know him that well?" I asked. "I study anyone notable in finance." He shrugged. "You think I charm people without doing homework?" "I want one thing," I said. "You're good at reading people. Use that." Pull Sienna in once. One mistake from her, and Landon will never touch her again. Kai tapped the table, considering.
Doable. Harder than seducing some bar girl, but not impossible. Name your price.
He sighed theatrically, spinning a lighter.
For a woman like her, I need the full eligible billionaire setup. Yacht posts, private jet hints, fancy watches, intellectual conference photos.
"You already post all that on Instagram," I cut in. "I've seen your entire highlight reel. Don't inflate the bill." His grin widened.
Cheap, aren't you? Your husband's mistress is attacking your home, and you still bargain?
"I'm not letting you scam me before I even divorce." He stood to walk away. "Then hire someone else." I stayed silent. The bartender told me weeks ago Kai had been drinking cheap liquor and racking up tabs. A man like him, who could charm someone with a glass of water, must hate drinking something that smells like disinfectant. Sure enough, he stopped, turned, and smirked. "Not gonna beg me?" "I don't need to," I said calmly.
There are plenty of people trained in behavioral psychology who take the job.
He returned to his seat.
Fine. 50,000.
60, I countered. "You get it all if you succeed. Any expenses, show me receipts."
And you wear audio gear. I want full access. Kai laughed, eyes narrowing. You're the pickiest client I've ever had.
Not picky, just no room for mistakes. He extended his hand.
Deal.
But listen, I can make her fall emotionally. Whatever happens after is on you. I just need her off the pedestal in Landon's mind, I said. That's all. That evening at home, my mother-in-law rocked my baby, watching old dramas where devoted wives get rewarded with happy endings. I almost laughed. Women my age don't believe in fairy tales anymore. That night, after everyone slept, I opened my laptop and printed everything I gathered on Sienna. Academic history, current deals, books and films she liked, Instagram posts, favorite quotes, interaction patterns, even her verbal tics. I'm not brilliant, but I prepare. The execution was for the specialist. When I handed Kai the folder, he skimmed it, paused at one photo. "This face," he said, "falls fast. Not because she's dumb, because she's starved for validation." He tossed the folder back. "You're not even going to study her?" I frowned. "Hazel," he murmured, leaning close enough that his breath brushed my ear. "My real client is you. You're the one paying. I only need to understand what you want." I shoved the folder against his chest. "Work rule number 1, don't harass your employer." "Ow," he complained, rubbing his nose. "This nose cost me 20 grand. "Then keep it far away from me." He slipped the tiny listening device into his shirt pocket. 1 month, he said. "Get your husband out of the country. Don't let him get in my way." 1 month? He grinned. "She's a fox, sure. But I've never failed with a woman who lives off male approval." I didn't fully trust him, but I had no alternative. If I kept waiting for Landon to hand me divorce papers one morning, there'd be nothing left to salvage. So when the plan began, I didn't blink. The first strike wasn't aimed at Sienna, but at Landon's sense of family. The baby's 1-month celebration was perfect for it. At first, I wanted something small, but every name in his contacts meant opportunity, future favors, leverage for my kids. So we chose the Crestwood Lounge, a private historic manor turned restaurant in the quietest part of Westbridge Heights. If you weren't wealthy or connected, you didn't get in. The owner personally confirmed Landon's reservation and gave us a panoramic, private room. I pretended to suggest a small guest list. Landon sighed with relief. But small, in his world, still filled the entire second floor with half of New York's finance circle. That scene, the toasts, the warmth, the prestige, was exactly the kind of picture Sienna couldn't stand. She could share profits with Landon, share conferences, share panels, but not family. And nothing burns a mistress like seeing the one thing she'll never be allowed into. I told Kai, bring her to Crestwood that night. Sit downstairs. He smirked. She'll refuse first, but she'll come. People always look at the thing that hurts them. I couldn't argue. I'd been that woman once, too. The night came. Laughing guests, clinking glasses, baby in my arms. After tonight, I whispered to myself, the board shifts. Downstairs, we sent boxes of extra cake as lucky treats for random diners. Inside one box was a mild emotional amplifier, not enough to break sanity, but enough to crack composure. I didn't know then that I wasn't the only one adjusting the chessboard. My kids had already moved a few pieces of their own. Later, I slipped downstairs with the baby, settling into a quiet corner to nurse. And as expected, judgment followed. A young server approached, frowning. "Ma'am, you can't do that here. It looks improper." "My baby's hungry," I said calmly. "This is the quietest spot." She huffed. "You could do that in the restroom." I looked up. "Do you eat your lunch in a restroom?" She froze. "This is a restaurant," she insisted. "Your behavior is disturbing guests." I stood, voice loud enough to carry. "Which guest? Show me the person offended by a mother feeding her child." The whole floor went silent for a beat. Then I heard the cold, sharp voice behind me. I complained. I didn't need to turn. Sienna. Red dress, polished smile, hatred glowing like stage lights. She launched into a tirade, calling me uncultured, shameless, asking if I had anything left that men would even want. But before she could finish, a shadow stepped between us. Landon. He draped his coat around me and the baby, hands trembling just slightly. "Too much wine upstairs," I whispered, letting my voice shake softly. He was hungry. I just didn't know what to do. His shoulders tightened, not in anger, but guilt. "My fault," he murmured. "I should have taken care of you both." He ordered a room divider. The owner apologized repeatedly. The server vanished. Her scripted job complete. I'd paid her well. At least her rent was covered this month. But Sienna, whether from alcohol, cake, or something extra my kids slipped in, spiraled further. She kicked the divider over, the crash echoing through the hall. The baby wailed. I shook. Sienna pointed at me, screaming, her mask gone, feral, vicious, unhinged. Guests crowded the stairs, phones lifted, whispers spread. A perfect public downfall. Half my plan achieved. Landon's jaw locked. "Escort her out," he said. But she lunged at him, clawing, crying, accusing him of betrayal. Her voice cracked into madness. And that's when I felt it. A chill. Because the tiny dose I sent wasn't enough to cause this. I glanced toward the bar. There stood Kai, turning a wine glass in his hand, calm as ever. Somewhere between my move and my kid's move, he had played his own. The chessboard was no longer mine alone. After that night, I learned something simple. Men fall for beauty, but they run from madness. Landon barely spoke the whole night. He sat in the living room with our baby in his arms, patting its back as if soothing himself more than the child. I watched quietly. His eyes had changed. Gone was the guilty softness from months before, now replaced by something familiar. Fear of losing control. For a man like him, a woman who screams, claws, and exposes her worst self in public isn't romantic drama. It's a threat. Sienna had destroyed half her image without me lifting a finger. 3 nights later, over breakfast, Landon finally said the words I'd been waiting for. Hale Capital's Seattle branch wants me there for about 3 months. They need me to clean up a few issues. I widened my eyes just enough. So soon? He nodded. It's urgent. I leave this weekend. Then, more carefully, "You're okay with that?" Inside, I exhaled. Distance and time zone gaps were exactly what Kai needed to crack Sienna open. I touched Landon's hand gently. "Go. We'll be here when you're back." For men in his world, "I'll wait for you" is worth more than any promise, especially when the mistress just had a meltdown. When he flew out, I didn't cling, didn't cry, didn't walk him to the door. Just travel safe. Sometimes the softest lines leave the deepest imprint. Half the board was now clear for me. The rest belonged to Kai. That night he sent me 3 files: a call recording with Sienna, a video clip, a 6-line plan. Annoyingly efficient. In the recording, Kai's voice was warm, lazy. "I saw your 3 a.m. post. Didn't know someone like you loses sleep." Her voice shook. "It's none of your business." "Funny," he said. "I'm in Seattle too. Cold, isn't it? Especially when the person you want isn't here." One line. Straight to the wound. The video showed Sienna on a rooftop cafe, wind messing up her perfect hair, staring at her phone like it was oxygen. 2 days away from Landon, and she already unraveled. Kai's plan read, Day 9, create emotional resonance. Day 20, create an unexplainable moment. Simple lines, terrifying precision. Kai wasn't dangerous because he was charming. He was dangerous because he understood everyone's weak points and never showed his own. I wasn't sure if I'd done the right thing, hiring one predator to hunt another. But cornered mothers don't get to choose clean tools. Then came a text from my daughter. "Mom, I saw Sienna outside my school. She looked drunk." A bad feeling hit me. That night, I opened the live feed from Kai's recording device. Sienna's voice cracked. "Have you ever loved someone you couldn't even call?" Kai replied, steady. "I don't watch from far away. If I want someone, I walk toward them." Her breath hitched, emotion spilling everywhere. Then his voice softened, dangerously gentle. You and I, we both loved the wrong person. I inhaled sharply. Not for Landon. For myself. Because in that moment, I realized the real prey might not be just Sienna. It might be me. When Landon first arrived in Seattle, he still texted like a good husband. Just got to the office. Late meeting tonight. It's cold here.
Wear a jacket.
But he sent the same type of messages to Sienna.
A gallery here reminds me of you. A hedge fund manager today had your style. You'd love the conferences here. If I were her, I'd think he was calling me. But I had something she didn't. His last name on the family registry. Men can send sweet words across countries, but if they don't take you with them, the message is simple. Wait, I haven't sorted things out at home. And no one knows how long sorting out takes.
In that space, Kai stepped in as the only one who hears her. He didn't talk about finance or deals or goals. He said things like, "Smart women like you carry too much alone. Aren't you tired?" No one had ever said that to Sienna. The first crack in her armor formed instantly. Soon Kai moved to phase 2, create a new safe space. Landon was her dream, but also her biggest fear. He could lift her up or erase her future with one decision. Kai did the opposite. No gifts, no bragging, no pressure. Just presence. On the phone at 2 a.m., at a cafe when she wandered in, on the sidewalk when she said she was tired. Sometimes a man simply being there is more intoxicating than diamonds. And on the nights Landon could only send her a thumbs-up emoji, Kai sent, "You deserve better than someone who can only spare one thumb." These are the lines people fall for, even when they know they shouldn't. That New Year's Day, Hale Capital held a major meeting in Seattle. At home, I lit a candle and texted Landon, "Happy New Year. Stay safe." He read it, but didn't reply. Fair enough. He was busy. A moment later, a message popped up. From Chloe, my middle child. "Mom, people on our school forum are talking about that clip of Sienna yelling at the Crestwood Lounge. I got mad and reposted more angles." Was that too much? My hand tightened. A chill ran through me. The kids were getting involved. Exactly what I never wanted. But how could I blame them? To them, I'm Mom. And anyone who hurts Mom is automatically the villain. Kids don't think about consequences. They don't calculate. They just protect. One day, I knew I'd pay the price for letting them see how fragile I really was. Late one afternoon, Kai Donovan sent me a PDF and just one message. "Sign this. No trace leads back to you or the kids." Inside was the full media strategy to take down Sienna Brooks and drag Landon Hale's reputation with her. No names, no accounts tied, completely clean. I signed, and chose not to ask how he erased us. In his world, ignorance protects you. A week later, anonymous accounts on X exploded. "Finance it girl attacks married woman at baby event." "Young advisor's image collapses." "Hedge fund VP accused of cheating while wife was recovering." I didn't react online. I simply watched Sienna plummet, and Landon dragged along with her. Regulators called Landon in. Then, he was reassigned to Seattle branch, indefinitely. Sienna's contracts vanished. Her connections evaporated. The door she walked through because of him closed the second his shadow moved. I thought it was over. But Kai never stops early. He told me, You hired me for the mistress, but your family's wounds aren't from just her. During his relationship psychology sessions with my kids, he said, "Love starts with safety. Men who grovel never give that. But men who lead by half a step, that's the kind you fall for." My son asked how to tell if a girl is real. Kai answered, "See who stays when you lose value." I listened from outside, both impressed and unsettled. My kids were learning to protect themselves, but maybe at the cost of trust. Soon after, my son and daughter showed him a plan designed to pull Sienna in emotionally. Sushi bar, grocery run, come over and wash fruit, walking his dog, returning for tea. Kai smirked. "You two are prodigies." My hands shook. To them, Sienna wasn't a person, just a variable. That night, I monitored the hidden camera in the apartment I'd rented for Kai. He executed perfectly. The glances, the distance, the subtle vulnerability, the scar story. Sienna fell fast. By her second visit, the camera caught everything. I assumed that was enough, but the next morning, the footage made my stomach drop. Sienna was on her knees, crying, hands gripping Kai's shirt. "Please don't leave me. Don't abandon me." Kai stood over shattered glasses, a hammer in his hand, then pressed glass shards into his thigh, blood soaking his jeans, face emotionless. I texted, "Stop." "Enough." He stared straight into the camera. "Relax. After-sales service. Free." A chill ran through me. Some men don't stop at victory. They stop at destruction. 3 months later, news broke. Gas leak fire near Seattle branch. 1 man critically injured. I knew, instantly. Kai. Investigators grilled me for months. I repeated, "We fought. I took the kids home. I know nothing about the fire." Telling the truth would burn all of us. The case was ruled accidental. But coincidences that perfect don't exist. When Landon returned to New York, he was in a wheelchair. 1 leg gone, 1 lung damaged, a decade older overnight. The man who once moved millions now needed nurses to shower. My oldest son graduated and avoided finance. "Not Dad's life," he said. But Kai's psychology tricks helped me. He kept his promise to take care of me without relying on Landon. My daughter quit her overseas plans and chose design school. "I just want Mom to stop worrying." My youngest hugged my leg. "Everyone's busy. I'll stay with you." Even through the wreckage, kids grow their own way. Landon stayed in a long-term care home. Each holiday, "Mrs. Hale, he wants to visit home." I sent gifts. "He's safer there." A quiet envelope made the request disappear. People asked if I was cruel. I said, "I didn't divorce him. Didn't remarry. The house is still his. The kids call him Dad. I let him keep his dignity." Sometimes, half punishment hurts most. Sienna resurfaced months later as a body paint model in a small European gallery, face hidden. Kai sent the link. "Art, right?" I didn't reply. She reached high society, but as display, not guest. Kai vanished, until one day I saw someone who looked like him at an Asian market. I walked away. That night, a young woman he once targeted came to see me. Now dressed simply, hair tied up. She handed me a note. "That wasn't me. It was his twin," she said. "The family is complicated. And you too? She blushed. Yes. He said you're the one person he doesn't want to face. Because he chose his path.
Do you want to send him a message?
I said, tell him to stay out of my life. She nodded. I tore the note. In the end, I learned the world doesn't hand out happiness based on morality. Some homewreckers thrive. Some loyal people suffer. I can't change the rules. I can only protect my kids with whatever tools I have. Judge me if you want, but ask yourself first, if someone spent 20 years taking from your tree, then tried to cut it down, would you do nothing? I'm not that strong.